this afternoon. He is on target for a podium though. He's third at the moment, behind Montoya, leading Alonso in second place. You're looking at the battle between Heidfeld and Coulthard. The Red Bulls, the Saubers and the Williams have been duking it out really for the places outside the top 10 all afternoon. Jenson Button's been a factor. He was running third earlier on, but he got jumped at the first round of pit stops by the Renault of Giancarlo Fisichella, and then more recently he's been jumped by Kimi Raikkonen. So Button is lapping in 5th place at the moment. Fisichella could have got the podium. He had Raikkonen behind him looking comfortable, but then at his second stop he stalled it on the way out, and that cost Fisichella the chance of the podium. At times when it's really mattered and he's needed the speed, Montoya has had it. He's dug deep and found the speed, but he was vulnerable just around the time of the second stops. Alonso had the opportunity to take the victory, but unfortunately for him, on the couple of laps he had extra on the field, he wasn't able to do the lap times he needed because he got held up behind Jarno Trulli in particular, and that cost him.
Kumasato making his way back through the field, and that could even have been for position actually. In fact, it was, because he's also 2 laps down after that initial problem not starting the Grand Prix properly. But the quality in depth, there's only 20 cars out there, but you know, you've got a Williams there. There's not a Williams in the top 10, but they're going pretty well. Webber's 11th, Heidfeld 12th, Coulthard 13th, and Villeneuve 14th, Klein 15th. Good drivers in good cars, and they can't break into the top 10. But what we've got at the moment is 2 McLarens, first and third, being gently caught, but only by fractions, by 2 Renaults in second and fourth. It's very even, Stevens. The gap 1.1 Montoya to Alonso, 2.1 third place man Raikkonen down to Fisichella. Button falling off the back of that. They've got to find better race pace. I think Jenson told us he wasn't going to win this Grand Prix. I think he just put in a brilliant qualifying performance and maybe raised our hopes a little bit, because it was a great lap and he had got proper race fuel on board, but he's not had the raw pace during the Grand Prix.
Only one retirement of the race so far, Narain Carter-Cayan fairly early on. We saw him, we thought both Jordans had retired, but Montero is going strongly, heading for his 11th consecutive race finish. What a rookie season the Portuguese driver is having. We're riding on board with David Coulthard in 13th place, Nick Heidfeld in front of us in the Williams. Down to Stowe Corner. How are the tyres coping with the onslaught? New rules for 2005, they have to qualify on a set of tyres and use the same tyres, not just for the start of the race, but for the whole of the race. It's made for some dramatic conclusions to Grand Prix as different tyre wear situations have gone on. Alonso, though, look at this, he's responding. He knows there's just 6 laps to go. He could quite easily settle for second place here this afternoon, knowing that Raikkonen is going to score 2 points less than him in third place. Where is Raikkonen? Well, it's the length of the Hangar Straight, the margin that these two have over Kimi Raikkonen. It's actually on a stopwatch, 16 seconds. But it looks to me, Martin, as though Alonso fancies a crack at Juan Montoya.
Yeah, Raikkonen 17 seconds adrift. Remember, there was a time when he was 30 seconds adrift of the lead of this Grand Prix. So it shows you the pace he's had through the middle part of the race, but I think he's pretty much given up now on chasing down Alonso and settling for third. Maybe he's hoping Alonso will catch his teammate and they'll trip over each other, but he's given up now. He was catching Alonso quite quickly, but it would have been, I don't think, enough laps left. Ted has some news.
Absolutely, and I've been into Renault and they fancy their chances here. They want to push Juan Montoya as far as he can go. They've seen what's happened to McLaren in the past when they've done that. Of course, that was at the Nürburgring when Kimi had a flat spot, no problems here, but Renault still fancy their chances, and they're also telling Fisichella to try and get a move on. They say if Alonso can be this quick, so can you, Fisi.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's not at the moment, he's dropping back. Fisichella falling away slightly from Raikkonen, but as you say, Ted, Alonso will not give up, will he? He's not thinking about his World Championship lead, is he? He is hustling.
I love this kid. I absolutely love him. I love his sense of style. I love his intelligence. I love the way he carries himself around the paddock. And what most of all, Martin, I love about him, he is a racer. He's pure thoroughbred racer, isn't he? He just loves it, and he goes for it at every available opportunity.
Yeah, big armful of lock there to get in across the curves. Short shifting to try to get better traction. Montoya has the measure of him, doesn't he, really, up there. And let's see. Montoya did a 21.7, Alonso 22.0 that time. Raikkonen and Fisichella both well into the 1:21s. Maybe Fizzy hasn't given up. Maybe they has just received the message. You've got to get on with it. You've both got a chance of pushing and pressurising the McLarens into a mistake. Remembering, of course, they want to keep these engines for Hockenheim too, don't they? Truly out there in the Toyota, unusually, he's kept his engine for a third race. Of course, they didn't race in Indianapolis, so it's kind of a little bit false, but he wants a fresh one for next week, for the next Grand Prix in Hockenheim.
Interesting tactic, maybe explaining a little bit of why Trulli isn't quite on the pace here this afternoon. He's certainly held one or two people up, and he's lost track position to his teammate. Trulli qualified 4th, Ralf Schumacher qualified 8th, but they are running 8th and 9th on the road, so Ralf Schumacher's got in front of him here this afternoon. Maybe a little bit of the reason why Trulli is in the shape he's in is because this engine has done 3 races. Well, Alonso went into this Grand Prix 24 points clear of Kimi Raikkonen. He looks like he's going to add another 2 points to that here this afternoon. Look at the helicopters displayed there in the middle of the field. It's the busiest airport in Britain on race day. Everybody comes in by helicopter, all the corporate guests and the high rollers, a lot of celebrities here, including Sami Hyypiä, centre-back for Liverpool Football Club, and Arsene Wenger from Arsenal, and Ellen MacArthur, who Martin spoke to on the grid. It attracts a lot of celebrities. Politicians have poured in as well. Quite a few of the cabinet are here this afternoon supporting British motorsport, which is good to see. There's Kimi Raikkonen heading for a podium once again, but I'm sure a lot of frustration for him, Martin. It just seems to be that this car is the big car to beat in Formula One, and yet when you go racing with it from Friday morning to Sunday afternoon, it's just not working out for him, is it, week after week, in the way championships are supposed to come together when you've got the right package.
It's odd. If you look at the discipline and the cleanliness and the presentation of the McLaren team, they look like the last people who were the last team in the paddock that would have reliability problems. But you know, I don't know if they just stress it out a little more, if they push it a little harder, push the limits. But you have to say, if a car's going to fail, you kind of think it's going to be the McLaren before the Renault somehow.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. Renault go racing in a very tactical and astute way. Pat Simmons, a very serious and experienced engineer, was Michael Schumacher's race engineer back in the good old Benetton days when Schumacher won 2 world titles. He certainly knows a thing or two about going racing. They've got very clever people back at the factory. Bob Bell, Dino Tozo making this car fly, but the McLaren is the faster car at the moment, and yet its point man is 26 points behind the Renault driver. But here today, this afternoon, it looks like it will be a McLaren victory, and it'll be, for once, Juan Montoya who's going to take it. Started 3rd on the grid here this afternoon. He's got just 3 laps to go to claim his first victory of the season. Quick word then from Sporting Director of BAR Honda, Gilles de Ferran. Well, Gilles, you were jumped by Raikkonen. Jenson Button was jumped by Raikkonen as we feared, and it just seems you need a little bit more pace in this BAR on race day.
No, absolutely. I think we need a little bit more speed, and I think today's 5th is as good as we could have.
Takuma's had good pace, hasn't he? Although he's not obviously going to show we're losing a lap, he's actually had very solid pace back there.
No, absolutely. It's unfortunate that we lost a lap with the car stalling on the grid, but he's been going fast throughout the race. So it looks like both cars were fairly consistent throughout the race. Jenson have been driving very consistent, very fast throughout the race. We just need a little bit more pace to catch the Renault and the McLaren.
Thanks very much indeed, Gilles. We look forward to Jenson Button, Takuma Sato and BAR Honda challenging for victories in the second half of this Formula One Championship. Certainly, Martin, the picture I saw when I went to Jerez in early February for the winter testing was McLaren and Renault, the fastest cars. Looked like BAR were not quite there as they had been last year. Looked like Ferrari was struggling. Looked like Williams were really struggling for pace. Red Bull looked like they could spring a few surprises. Toyota were a little bit quicker than people expected. And here we are 11 races into the World Championship. That picture is still the picture of Formula One. It's been an incredible development race, and yet they've all basically moved relative to each other at the same pace.
One thing bothers me about today, though, we've talked about it all year, how difficult it is to follow the other cars under these 05 regulations. The drivers have been bitching about it since day one of the season. And at this track, we have seen a lot of overtaking in recent years, and today it couldn't and hasn't happened other than the pit lane. They've got to really consider what they're doing for 06 with these cars to find a way to enable them to travel much more closely together. There was a long camera angle there. I hope it wasn't Alonso beginning to slow at the back of the field there. He's certainly dropping away now from Montoya, but of course not very far to go.
Yeah, this is the last lap for Juan Montoya. It's been a splendid performance by him and by Fernando Alonso as well. They've really fought each other tooth and nail for the victory here. It could have gone either way at several points in this Grand Prix, but you can hear the air horns now starting to blow. Montoya is within a mile of the finish line. He's within a mile of his first victory of the 2005 World Championship. After 75 starts in Formula One, he's not won as many as he should have done. He'll be the first to admit that. This is going to be only his 5th career victory, but it's been a terrific one, and what a place to do it on McLaren home soil. Juan Montoya wins the British Grand Prix! And there is Alonso to finish 2nd, take another crucial 8 World Championship points. Kimi Räikkönen could come across the line any moment now in 3rd place, having fought his way up from 12th on the grid. A tremendous effort, but their early laps were crucial, as we knew they would be. Fisichella, but for that stall in his pit stop, would have been on the podium.
Kimi making a big point on the final lap, not quite sure what the point is. He goes a second a lap faster than anybody else has done in this Grand Prix. 1:20.5 would have put him right at the front of the grid. He had an incredible amount of performances. Button comes over the line in 5th place. Fisichella's already finished in 4th. What's the message there from Räikkönen? He finished just 14 seconds away from Montoya, but what a final lap. The Ferraris then are going to come home in 6th and 7th. They've got to go and find some speed from somewhere. It's not happening.
It certainly isn't. Michael Schumacher yet to cross the start-finish line, but he was 72 seconds behind Montoya at the start of the last lap. That's an awful lot to give away. And, well, Juan Montoya's got his first victory, and no one, Louise Goodman, will be happier about that than his devoted, loving wife, mother to his son Sebastian, Connie Montoya.
You are absolutely right, James. I'm with Connie now. Connie, you must be one very, very happy lady.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, the team deserves it, Juan deserves it, and yeah. I don't have words, really.
He really has just been the class of the field today, hasn't he? It was touch and go at times with Alonso, though. Were you getting a bit nervous for him?
No, I was drinking a little bit of wine, relaxing, but no, I think Juan is a great driver, he has a great car, and I think it was time he got it, so he deserves it.
We're very happy for him. I see you got little baby Sebastian in your arms here.
First podium, so...
Did he sleep through that one, or did he pay any attention?
No, he was paying attention sometimes, and others not.
Thanks for talking to us, Connie. Go out and enjoy the victory.
Well, not only the first victory of the season for Montoya, Martin, but the first time he stood on the podium, which shows you what kind of a topsy-turvy year he's had. Early part of the season, finished 6th in Australia, 4th in Malaysia. Then came the injury, however sustained, whether it was a tennis accident or, as some suspected, falling off a motorbike, who knows, but it put him out at a crucial phase when McLaren brought this development package onto the car. New engine, much more powerful engine from Mercedes, new bodywork, new steering, new suspension. And Räikkönen took all the benefit from that, going on a winning streak in Spain, in Monaco, and also in Montreal. Montoya could have had victory in Montreal. It was taken away from him by a pit mix-up for the McLaren team. But here at Silverstone, the track he knows well from his British Formula 3 days where he spent his apprenticeship, he's got his race victory. You can see the two Williams finishing outside the top 10. Coulthard, look at all the big names. 2-time winners of this Grand Prix, Coulthard and Villeneuve, unable to make a deeper impression on the race than 13th and 14th. And Montoya is the winner.
I wonder why Räikkönen, he obviously must turn to the revs up a little bit on the last lap and to put that lap time in. And just wondering why he took the trouble to do that, really. Maybe that's him sending a message to the team, or sending probably more likely actually, sending a message to Juan Pablo Montoya of, hey, don't worry, I had the speed if I only had the grid slot and didn't have the engine problem. Räikkönen on the podium then, just losing a further 2 World Championship points to Alonso, but it's 26 it's up to now. Ralf Schumacher moves up to 9th. Webber didn't score any points, he stays just ahead of Coulthard there. who's down to 11th and still obviously a long way ahead of Button, who's only just started scoring points.
Now, it's that time of the day as Jenson Button makes his way through and collects the applause of the crowd. There's the designer of the McLaren, the chief of the technical team, Adrian Newey. How many races and world championships has he won with Williams and McLaren over the years? Renault break through the 100 barrier in the Constructors' Championship. It's been a wonderful season for them so far. It's that time of the day, Martin, where we've got to consider who the driver of the group. Don't look at me like that. I know you always get into trouble from everybody you don't choose in the paddock. Come up to you the next race and say, why didn't you pick me? But I mean,
it's their deputation to come and poke me in the chest. But on a number of occasions now, and it's only my opinion, it's me, it's my gut reaction to the day. Montoya, his first win for McLaren, a very, very good drive. But you have to say, Raikkonen finished just 14 seconds adrift. We know Montoya was hustled all the way by Alonso, so that was pretty much his speed. And that means Raikkonen took best part of quarter of a minute out of them, despite being disadvantaged in the traffic. So it goes to Raikkonen for me.
Onto the podium comes the winner. British national anthem rings out loud and true over Silverstone. It's been a week of darkness and tragedy for many, joy as well, with the news that we got the Olympics here in Britain in 2012. Juan Montoya collects his trophy. Formula One decided to put a spectacle on here, observing a minute's silence for the victims of the bombings in London before the race, putting on a great show here this afternoon, just showing that the UK can certainly host a world-class event, no problem. Adrian Newey knows how to build a world-class Formula One car, no problem. And that three of the finest drivers in the world have entertained us royally.
I don't think Fernando will be too unhappy. Flavio looking suave and sophisticated, sublime there as ever. But I think they'll be moderately satisfied with that, actually, in terms of they didn't expect to win here. So to be ahead of Kimi, for whatever reason, it is a major result. John Grant there, chairman of the Motorsport Association.
We have a cabinet meeting on that podium. There's so many politicians up there. No champagne, of course, as a mark of respect for the victims of the London bombing. Well, a wonderful race. And we will have a short break now. Oh, is the champagne? No, they're not going to do. Just going to take it with them. No spraying of it. Montoya just remembering the etiquette agreed before the race. Thank you very much, guys, for a wonderful afternoon's entertainment. We're going to have a short rest now before the back-to-backs of Hockenheim and Budapest, and the second half of the Formula One World Championship, which will continue, I've no doubt, to be just as hot as it was today at Silverstone.
Juan Pablo Montoya, the winner of the British Grand Prix this morning at Silverstone. There was always the feeling that McLaren was very much at home on the Silverstone circuit, and it's been Montoya who has shown the way. He had a brilliant start, getting past Alonso and Button and converting that start into his first race win for McLaren. Bob, Montoya, an aggressive display. Look at the way he came out of that second pit stop.
Yeah, Montoya looked like he was going to take the race by the scruff of the neck from the very first lap, didn't he, at the start. Luckily, our computer prediction at the beginning, Jeff, was right. We got all 3 out of 3. But the McLarens and the Renaults are clearly the fastest cars out there, faster than anything else. And it's just amazing how fortunes change. There's Michael Schumacher coming home 70-odd seconds behind the winners. And, well, you've got to hope that Ferrari get back on track. But nonetheless, you can't take it away from the McLarens and the Renaults. Superb race from all of them.
You talk about the race pace of the McLaren, the frustration therefore even greater for Kimi Raikkonen having to start 12th, and really from there you need everything to go perfectly.
Yeah, you do. He was held up quite a lot, but that's what you get when you're back in 12th position. You've got to get past the guys in the next 11 positions as part of it. You've got to ensure that you don't end up in 12th position and make the car more reliable. It's quite a simple formula, really. If the car's reliable, you qualify well, you'll start at the front. I would like to have seen a battle between Raikkonen, Montoya and Alonso and Fisichella. I mean, that would be great, a wheel-to-wheel battle. But there you go. Maybe we get it the next race. But those cars are clearly, as I said, faster than anybody else.
As we see again, celebrations for Juan Pablo Montoya, his first race win. We're just standing by to go to the media conference and get the thoughts of the 3 leading drivers from the British Grand Prix. The lady holding the baby, Connie Montoya.
And that's Ron Dennis's wife, Lisa Dennis, on the right-hand side with one of Ron's kids, his youngest daughter there. So that's a real family outing today. All the families are there.
Plenty to smile about for members of the McLaren team. Interesting with Fisichella stalling in the pits. My mind goes back to last year. Jarno truly fell foul of Flavio and didn't last much longer.
No, it's amazing, isn't it, how he seems to contrive to drop the ball just when he's doing it quite well each time. I mean, since Australia this year, Fisichella's just had some either dreadful luck or dreadful mistakes.
Let's go now to the media conference. Juan Pablo Montoya, Fernando Alonso and Kimi Raikkonen.
Kimi Raikkonen, second for Mild 7 Renault, Fernando Alonso, and winning his first Grand Prix for West McLaren Mercedes, his 5th career win, Juan Pablo Montoya. Well, Juan Pablo, a great qualifying lap, first of all, to get you right up there, and then an amazing first corner for you on the outside of Fernando.
Yeah, you know, yesterday in qualifying, being one of the first few cars to run is just really hard, and even like that we managed, I think we had the potential to do a good lap, and we did. And I think that where the race was won. You know, I had a good start, and I knew Fernando couldn't risk too much, and I was willing to risk a bit more, and it really paid off. I think that's where the race was won, because in the first part of the race, the car was really oversteering, and I couldn't push it too much. So I decided just to look more after the tires and wait for the stop, because if you kill the tires, the race would be over. But you know, I think the team did a great strategy. They called me a lap early, and you know, Fernando got some traffic as expected, and it was but it was, you know, it's enough.
But it was very close between you two guys. A lot of pressure for you throughout the race, no mistakes. You seem to have the edge in sectors 2 and 3. Fernando always matching you through sector 1.
I don't know, the car in the first sector, turn 1 was quite oversteery, and I had big moments at the beginning of the race going into Beckett's. And I know when you lose it there, you not only lose it, but you have a big shunt. And you know, it's to lose half a tenth, it wasn't worth it. You know, we knew the car was quick, and I think when I had to push to open the gap, it paid off. You know, it was just enough, and I think Fernando had a bit of traffic that helped. But
well, just enough just after that first pit stop as well, side by side with Fernando going into Beckett's again.
Yeah, it was good. You know, I think it's great racing, and you know, I want to thank everybody in McLaren and Mercedes. You know, I went to Mercedes Performance Engines on Thursday and visited them, and they said, oh, we got, you know, this engine for you, and you know, hopefully you win the race with this engine and everything, and to give the win to all the guys is amazing.
Congratulations, a great win. Fernando, it was very, very close. What was the deciding factor? Traffic, perhaps that fuel load on the second stint?
Well, it was very, very close between Juan Pablo and me. I think the first pit stop, we put a lot of fuel on board, obviously, to go very long in the second stint. And even with that, I nearly overtake Juan Pablo in the first stop. So with a normal strategy, I should come in front of him in the first stop. But I think the strategy at that time was good. I keep more or less the 3 seconds gap with Juan Pablo in the second stint. And these 4 or 5 laps longer that I was in the second stint should help me and to win the race. But unfortunately, I have some traffic there. And the blue flags didn't work at all this race, so I think I lost 3 seconds, I think, with Jarno, and obviously it was not his fault because there were not blue flags at all, so he didn't know probably that I was fighting for the victory at that time.
And it looked pretty close going into that last stint as well. You were within 1 second of Juan Pablo, and then in the last closing laps of the race, he managed to pull away.
Yeah, it was. I tried after the second stop to push a little bit him. But I think it was really difficult to overtake. I knew what was the pace of Juan Pablo and me, very similar, because all the first stint I was with him. So, you know, the last 3 or 4 laps, Kimi was quite far away, so I just relaxed and keep the second place that for us is a dream come true here in Silverstone.
Particularly, I guess, with Juan Pablo taking some points away from Kimi in that sense, but congratulations. Switching to you, Kimi, a fantastic drive from you up from the midfield, setting fastest lap on your last lap of the race, trying all the way, but obviously lost a lot of time early on behind Michael and Jarno.
Yeah, I think so. This year the cars are very difficult to follow on the fast corners, and I was quite a bit quicker than they were, but I got close on the end of the backstraight, but I was never able to really follow close enough through the fast corners, so I knew that it was difficult to get anywhere after that, but at least we got a podium, so it's a good results for the team. So could have been better, but this is what we got this time.
I suppose you would have liked a few more blue flags as well for the traffic in front of you. What was the traffic like from your point of view?
Yeah, a few times, but I guess there were more important things to do on that time. And then it's sometimes difficult to marshals to see always, or the race control to see everybody, so it is what it is.
Just to reiterate, obviously very bad luck for you having to take that grid penalty because of that engine change, but no doubt about the speed of the McLaren Mercedes today.
Yeah, under normal circumstances I think so would have been quite a bit different results, but like I said, there's nothing what I can do. I can just try my best, and hopefully the team will sort out the rest, and we don't need to start 10 places back anymore.
Congratulations on a great drive. Juan Pablo, final word to you. Your first win for McLaren in the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, a momentous occasion for you and for the team.
I think it's a great race. You know, it's the home race for the team, and actually, you know, both parts. You know, the engine's built here in England and everything, and it's just amazing. I know how many fans and how many guys in my team wanted for me to do this, and it's great. You know, I'm just so pleased. It's awesome.
Congratulations. Now if you could have some words from you in Spanish.
Nescafe are giving you the chance to win a trip for 2 to the 2006 Melbourne Grand Prix. The prize includes airfares, 4 nights accommodation and spending money. Plus, every round you'll go in the draw to win an F1 Racing Magazine subscription. To enter, simply answer the following question. The 2003 British Grand Prix was interrupted because of a mad monk on the track, a horse on the track, a rainstorm, or a protest march on the track. Text your answer A, B, C or D to 3777 on your mobile. And for more chances to win, visit tvnz.co.nz. Keyword Ask Bob. Take the Nescafe Grand Prix Challenge.
The accepted wisdom for this morning's race at Silverstone was that McLaren would come through to win it, and Bob, that computer projection came through. Montoya at last showing what he can do.
Yeah, it's good for him, isn't it, to actually win a race, get something under his belt, especially the way he had to qualify or start off his qualifying. So it was a good race, all in all. I think it was obviously a Silverstone race, fast, slipstreaming, bit tactical. And the usual things happening again. Ralf Schumacher just appeared. Where from? We don't know. The sleeping giant or something like that. And Michael just flogging round and round and round and getting points. So not a bad race.
No real race pace for Ferrari, as Martin Brundle said last week. If they don't have a problem, they have a problem.
They've got a big problem at the moment, haven't they? I mean, after all that way back, it's a long way for a Ferrari, and I hope they don't drop off completely, because we need Ferrari up there. We need 6, 8, 10 cars all vying for the championship. At the moment, we've certainly got
4 and perhaps 5 with Button. So, yeah, good race. I'm looking forward to the rest of them.
2 weeks from now, Hockenheim, what are you expecting to see there?
Well, Hockenheim's changed a little bit. Obviously, Michael Schumacher will want to win, but I don't know. Hockenheim's a slow track now. It used to be a fast track, so I think probably McLaren will still shine, and obviously Alonso will.
All right, Bob, thanks for all your insights, your comment. We'll do it all again in 2 weeks.
Be here.
All right. So there we have it. The British Grand Prix is over and done with. The German Grand Prix, it is live with One Sport in a couple of weeks, round 12 out of 19. The European season in full swing. Thanks for staying with us this morning. Join us again in a couple of weeks. Good morning to you.